There ain't no future unless we build it now. Unless we build it now. United States, Africa, we salute ya. A new state of mind, I introduce ya. Close your eyes and visualize the rise of a new paradigm. Solar powered skyscrapers.
Welcome to the Africa Must Unite podcast, a podcast dedicated to inspiring African people worldwide to rise up, organize, and struggle for Pan-Africanism, a unified, liberated, socialist Africa, the only permanent solution to the exploitation and oppression of African people, no matter where they happen to be born or happen to live in the world. Now please, welcome the hosts of Africa Must Unite.
Africa's future is now, so get ready.
Greetings. I am Brother Melvin.
Pan-African greetings, people. I'm Brother Terrence.
And this is Africa Must Unite podcast.
And we are the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party, better known as PRSP. Welcome, Brother Melvin. Podcast number 92 here.
92, a big one. Let's go.
All right. Like we do at this time, we want to introduce you all to some important calendar dates. We are in the month of August here. First date I want to talk about is August 9th. August 9th is better known as International Day of Solidarity with the women of South Africa and Namibia. Also on this day, in 1956, over 20,000 African women on Women's Day protested against past laws in South Africa. August 10th, we celebrate Josina Michel, a guerrilla organizer of Mozambique's Frelimo's Wing, who was born on August 10th, 1945. August 13th is the birthday, 1926, of Fidel Castro, president of Cuba. Viva Fidel.
Viva.
August 17th, the birthday of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who was the co-founder of the UNIA, born in Jamaica, 1887, on August 17th. And speaking of August, this is the month known as Black August. And Black August is simply a commemoration honoring freedom fighters and political prisoners. People fast during this month. They train during this month. They study during this month. And most importantly, they continue to organize for our collective liberation. Speaking of Black August, it leads me to two other important dates centered around this commemoration. And that will be August 7th in 1970, when Jonathan Jackson, a 17-year-old African, stunned the U.S. courts by attempting to free the Soledad brothers, which included his brother George Jackson. And a year later, 2 weeks and a year later, on August 21st, Soledad brother George Jackson was murdered by the U.S. fascist police and prison guards in 1971, August 21st.
All right.
And those are our dates in August.
Yeah, thanks for that, Brother T. Some big days. Happy Black August for everyone that's listening. So for all of our podcast listeners, if you've been following us, you know that we've been sort of following our theme of our calendar, and we're looking at positive revolutionary motion throughout the world. And we look at motions in various countries and even different continents. And for this month, we'll be looking at Europe, positive revolutionary motion throughout the world, with a focus on Europe for this month. And I just want to share with you all our calendar piece. It says the world is awakening to the impact of capitalism in all its manifestations. Young people throughout Europe, for example, have assumed their historical role as the spark of revolutionary action. In France, the Black Lives Matter (BLM) movement has gained momentum as it mobilizes against police brutality and systemic racism. African activists have brought attention to issues like the death of Adama Traore, a young African who died in police custody in 2016, which sparked nationwide protests. French BLM campaigns have not only focused on the disproportionate violence faced by African and Arab communities at the hands of law enforcement, but have also highlighted broader systemic issues of discrimination in housing, employment, and education. The movement is supported by grassroots organizations, youth, and migrant rights groups. There has been a sharp increase in Islamophobia or Islamic phobic and racist incidents, particularly following the escalation of the conflict in Gaza, which has spurred solidarity movements across the UK against both foreign and domestic injustices. Tens of thousands have taken to the streets to protest Great Britain's support for the war in Gaza and rising Islamophobia and racism. These demonstrations have been driven by growing frustration with the government's foreign policies and its complicity in the violence in the Middle East, as well as the increasing target of Muslim and African communities within the country. Protesters are calling for an end to British arms sales to Israel and demanding that the government take a stronger stance in supporting Palestinian rights. Many of these protests have been organized in response to government policies that criminalize migration and fail to protect the rights of asylum seekers. Activists are calling for more humane immigration policies, better integration efforts, and an end to the militarization of border control, which disproportionately targets vulnerable groups, including refugees and undocumented migrants. Across Europe, protests are also erupting against violence and discrimination faced by migrant populations. In countries such as Italy, Greece, and Spain, demonstrators, many of whom are African, have rallied against the inhumane treatment of migrants, often trapped in overcrowded detention centers or subjected to violence pushbacks at borders. In Italy, there is the No Cap Organization for Agriculture Workers, as well as the Barakama and African Migrants Cooperative. In Greece, there's the Black Panthers who patrol public transport and metro stations. Positive revolutionary motion is indeed occurring throughout Europe.
Wow, a Black Panther organization in Greece.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see if we can do a little quick dive into this. What's going on in Europe, T? So we are seeing that there are many strikes. There's marches, uprisings across Europe. As mentioned in the piece, we see migrants and workers and students all using their efforts to bring attention to what's going on, and they're refusing to be silent. So from what we've seen or what we've read and are learning about, what can you say? What can you tell us is going on over in Europe?
First and foremost, the streets are alive. Just like here and just like everywhere else, the people are angry, and rightfully so. So Africans, Arabs, working class Europeans, all are feeling the same boot on their necks. From Paris to London, the police are beating protesters while billionaires toast champagne. But something is shifting. People are starting to see the enemy clearly. The same heads that steal Africa's resources are cutting jobs and schools in Europe. This isn't charity work. They're doing is survival. So the people are doing survival work.
Yeah, we see specifically in like the UK, they're talking about or the media use this phrase cost of living crisis and that kind of thing. But we know that the spike in prices of everything is not just a cost of living crisis, but we understand it to be what capitalists tend to do in its seek for increasing its profits and that kind of thing. So we know it's not just about high prices and those kinds of things, but more of the contradiction that exists between capitalist class and the working class people. But what can you share with us in terms of what's really going on?
The capitalists are at it again with their translated codes.
Yeah.
Cost of living crisis is a capitalist code for we're robbing you blind. They raise rent, they slash public services, they privatize everything, then they tell us to tighten our belts. For Africans in Europe, they catch it twice. Of course, racism and also exploitation. But the anger is making people organize. Rent strikes, worker walkouts, youth refusing to accept crumbs. People are starting to say, we don't want a bigger slice of your rotten pie. We want a new kitchen.
No, that's good. I mean, that's the momentum that certainly we need to see worldwide, and I think, and we'll get to that point, kind of where we focus on like what's happening with global capitalism and imperialism. I think it's nearing its tragic end, hopefully sooner than later. But kind of switching up a little bit. Let's talk about what's going on and the contradictions that exist with Europe specifically, but the U.S., but we can say the West as a total, and their support for Gaza and their support for Zionism really is what we're talking about. But millions across Europe are taken to the street in support of Palestine. Why is Gaza our fight too? Like, and I know we're looking at Europe, but even for Africans here in the U.S., but Africans all over, why is it important for us to understand what's going on in Palestine, and why is Gaza a fight that we need to be looking at and focused on as well?
Yeah, that's a timely question because, for some reason, you have Africans, particularly here in the U.S., saying that's not our fight when it comes to Gaza, when it comes to what's happening at Alligator Alcatraz, that's not our fight. With the immigrants, that's not our fight. And what's happening in Haiti, that's like, what is our fight then? When have we bailed on the struggle? But nevertheless, Gaza is our fight because it's the same war. The same economic structure, capitalism in all of its manifestations, Zionism, arming Israel's genocide are the ones who built colonialism in Africa, who loot our minerals, who drown our people in the Mediterranean. If you understand Palestine, you understand Africa. Every bomb dropped on Gaza is a message from the empire. We will kill to protect our power. The answer must be, we will fight to end your power. Solidarity is not charity, it's a strategy.
Yeah, I know that point. We'll kill to protect our power, and I think about one of the major apparatus of the capitalist structure, the defense of the capitalist structures are the police system, and now we see military being used to protect the power of capitalist structure and those kinds of things. So I know when they say we will kill to protect our power, they're talking about using each apparatus or form of oppression and suppression that they can, which in this case are police, are the military, whose primary focus is to protect the capitalist class, and we understand that. But what we tend to highlight, as you already know, is the need to organize, and I think that's what we're seeing in Europe. People get angry, and it's important that we channel that anger and frustration into something more sustainable, which is organization, right? Because once we organize, we set in motion revolutionary organizational principles, and we hopefully are looking at what our solution can be. And if the antithesis of a capitalist structure is a more socialist structure, a socialist environment, and I mean that's the first stage that we should be looking at. But in talking about organizing, who are some of the organizations that we are seeing that are struggling against some of these capitalist forces, specifically in Europe?
Well, you have in England, local black, the London Black Revolutionaries. They're a working class group that split from the Socialist Working Party in 2013. They're founded on an anti-capitalist, anti-racist, anti-fascist principle set. You have the United for Intercultural Action Coalition. They're made up of 569 governmental organizations across 48 countries, and also the Pan-African Palestine Solidarity Network, which is based at home in Africa, but has reached and impacted Europe through its solidarity, mobilizations, and thematic alignments. Formed in 2021, this Pan-African network has presence in 20 African countries. So that's the London Black Revolutionaries, that's the United Intercultural Action Coalition, and that's the Pan-African Palestine Solidarity Network. And of course, there's many more bubbling in the ground underground.
No, we talked about even in France the BLM movement that started here in the U.S. And it's made its way over in Europe as well, in France and all in UK. So we know that the youth are being activated and are assuming their historical role to spark a revolutionary action, and it's just a need to see more of that. But as we build these revolutionary organizations, we have to at some point come to, and I think we'll get to this piece near the end, where we just talk about building some types of coalition, right? What Nkrumah talked about, building these revolutionary coalition. I forget the name. What was the name of that? T? You remember?
It's a political coalition. I have to double check.
Yeah, I shouldn't have put you on the spot, man. Both of us didn't forget. See, and that's the necessity of being in an organization, right? So we own our political education, and we understand our principles, and we understand in history, and we understand in where we need to be and what we need to be building. So let that serve as an example for all of us, that once we are organized, that we are engaged in political education, and we are able to spread the word of Pan-African revolutionary socialist actions and that kind of thing. But we talk about the anger growing in Europe, and the contradiction and sharpening. What is the answer? And I probably gave it up a little bit, but if you can give us a summation, what do you think? What is the answer?
Well, we have to look at socialism, not the watered down kind that asks the rich to please be nicer, but revolutionary socialism that ends their rule entirely. We understand that capitalism is the disease, socialism is the cure. And for Africans, that means Pan-African revolutionary socialism. That's uniting people across the borders, uniting Africans across the borders, taking back our land and our resources, and using our vast wealth from the motherland for human need and not for private greed. Europe's movements can win battles, but without a socialist vision, the system would just grow new heads. We need to cut it off at the roots.
Yeah, that's true. And here's the thing: global capitalism is reaching its breaking point. Its many faces, whatever we want, the tentacles of global capitalism, imperialism, neocolonialism, Zionism, the fascism that we are seeing, all of its tentacles are all desperate attempts to preserve a decaying system built on exploitation and war. From the streets of Europe to the refugee camps of Gaza, oppressed people are rising, they're organizing, they're refusing to be silent. But we must be clear, the heart of the struggle is in Africa. Europe may be battling the tentacles of capitalism, but Africa is where the empire sinks its fangs the deepest. Through neo-colonial puppets who sell out the richest landmass in the world while our people remain impoverished. Once Africa sees its freedom, once its people reclaim their land, labor, and resources under revolutionary socialist principles, the entire foundation of global capitalism will collapse. Africa liberation is not just a regional struggle, it is the key to the liberation of humanity itself. How does that sound? Is that you think that's about accurate, T?
Spot on.
Good. Spot on. Listen, I know we kept it sweet and short and to the point for this month's podcast and talking about revolutionary motion throughout the world, but we looked at Europe, and as you can see, it's hard to talk about revolutionary motion in just one area without talking about where the epicenter is. And we understand for us that once we're able to take back our country under a socialist structure, our continent, our land, the richest land, our motherland, Africa, the entire system will fall. We understand that every structure, every all the pieces of capitalism are highly dependent on being able to exploit those natural resources. I can't be on this podcast right now without the resources that come from the motherland, Africa. If we were to control our resources and that kind of thing, we'll be able to liberate not only ourselves at home, but throughout the entire diaspora. You'll see the change of the African personality, the African self-esteem, and all of that. And that's what's on the rise. That's what's on the rise. As young educators, T and I, we promote this, we push this, we say to everybody that we have to continue to organize, and organize. But kind of moving on. So all throughout 2025, at times, with the help of our invited guests, our focus will remain on our 2025 theme of our calendar, which is a unified socialist Africa is not only possible, it's coming.
All right. Join us next month, September. We will be discussing positive motion throughout the world with the focus on Central and South America.
Meanwhile, visit our website, Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party.org. Email us at panafricanrsp@gmail.com. Like us on SoundCloud.com and visit on YouTube.
Remember, organization is the key. You can join us, the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party, or some other Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist organization. A union of African socialist states is on the horizon.
Where's all my outlaws? Yeah, we ain't having it no more. All this shit going on and no one saying nothing. Fuck this. Black the Ripper, Low Key, Akala, get explicit on production. Outlaw Volume 2. Talk to them, fam.
So many men say they're revolutionary, but they don't really know what revolution will mean. It will mean blood and it will mean pain, but it could be us who bring that change. Each bar that I publish is grasping for justice. Regard your partners as parliament puppets. Acknowledge me on behalf of the public. Abolish the queen, we demand a republic. Little hypocrites are spitting typical nonsense. I'm a black bull cause of political content. Laugh at my people while you criminals bomb. They're militant on the rhythm. I'm killing you with a song. Then history you won't read in the textbook. Kunta Kente, I bleed from my left foot. Never see me on the TV with Jed Wood. Tell the BBC they need me on Westwood. Screwball crackhead, you don't crackhead. Your crew don't pack text through those wax sets. Do a whole track that says who's so crap. Best salute though. Kudos to Ugo Chavez. Forget the ice on your hand on your rollie. When it's on top, get your ransom from Sony. Mangle, dismantle and cancel your cronies till I go out like Diana and Dodie. Talk about my race, why is it funny? Forget A-Rabbi getting Zionist money. Sicker than sickle cell. And my name rings bells. Might be taking me lightly cause my skin's pale. I can get dark, more dark than a dark more. I can get dark like a dark night and dark more. Dark like dark 4 at 4:30 a.m. So what you dummies getting dark for?
Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. 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 Revolution thing. I'm on the revolution thing. I'm on the revolution thing. I'm on the revolution ting, I'm on the Huey Newton ting. All these clones are watching the throne, but I think we all know who's the king. They're on this Martin Luther ting. I'm more like Malcolm X without the specs. When I speak, you hear me loud and clear. Fuck police, I say that loud and clear. Law abiding, fuck out here. My people are struggling out here, going jail and hustling out here, cause the government don't give us nothing out here. Sometimes I need a sign, so I ask God and get nothing but air. And you wonder why we're living in sin, prison planet, we're all living in bin. And you know what's the wickedest thing? No one one gives a shit, we're just letting them win. The minority control the majority. They tax our wages, that's robbery. They're already rich, we're living in poverty. Dishonesty and hypocrisy. 9 to 5 life, that's not for me. What the heck, you can keep your check. £1 a month, can't pay my rent. I ain't scared, I run up in the lions den. To the royal family, give up lying for Lent. There's people in the army dying for them. David Cameron's family got rich off the slave trade. Now it's 2014, he's got you working on a slave wage. Fuck that, and fuck them. I don't pick cotton blood. Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. 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 Revolution thing. I'm on the revolution thing. I'm on the revolution thing. Carla, low-key, explicit. Everybody, anybody talk revolution shit. But do we really know revolution is? Fighting but enlightened. All of the guns are controlled by the tyrants. Don't get me wrong, we defend ours. But real revolution is who we are. Long as I drive a car, wanna be stars. It's the world stars, just get ours. Far from apart that it's hard to regard as nothing but the darkest part of the scars. Cause we march and we dance and we chant and we prance, but can't advance past our past fast. Caught in division, war for religion, mental prison, nationalism. Flag is a cloth that wrap round your head. Proud as a shroud to wrap round the dead. We're bound by the clowns that back down and said we're bound to be bound, go back down to bed. Long as we see borders and orders, of course we'll resort to retort to the talk with our forces, or just act brainless. Avoid the fact that they chain us and all the crimes that are heinous, and hope that we can get famous. But Guevara t-shirts are not revolution. I ain't saying I got the solution to curb our greed of redistributing the wealth of the earth to those of our choosing. Real revolution, wanna be a part of it? Turn off the TV, read, start of it. Malcolm was reading, Gandhi was reading, Toussaint was reading, though we died bleeding. We have that man to thank for our freedom. We die for dumb shit, why not die for freedom? We have that man to thank for our freedom. We die for dumb shit, why not die for freedom? Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. Revolution thing, I'm on the revolution thing. 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 Revolution thing. I'm on the 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 revolution thing.